the main protagonists in Christianity is Jesus Christ, and the New Testament of the Bible is based on the events of his life. You might consider Jesus to be both the Messiah and a historical character, depending on your views. While there is some information about his life in the Bible, there aren't many other historical records from his lifetime. Because of this, it might be difficult for historians who are not religious to learn about Jesus outside of religious writings, but there have been some intriguing findings in recent years. While some recount one story, others relate a whole different one that supports the stories found in the Bible. Let's go and find out what historians can tell us about the life of Jesus Christ. Origin. Apart from the Bible, there aren't many sources that reference Jesus, however historian Andrei Cheviters notes that a few writers have provided similar details about his life. Flavius Josephus is credited with the most well-known texts. He was a Jewish intellectual from the 1st century CE. He mentions Jesus twice in his book, Antiquities of the Jews. Appearance. Richard Neve, a forensic scientist from the United Kingdom, rebuilt the face of a typical adult from the time of Jesus. The end result was a dark-skinned man with short hair, as opposed to the typical representation of Jesus, who is pale-skinned with long hair and blue eyes. The messenger of God. According to Luke's Gospel, Jesus was well-versed from an early age. Opinion on homosexuality. Jesus never condemned homosexuality in the Bible, which is a little-known fact. He never even brought it up. Birthday. Although many Christians observe Christmas on December 25th, many are unaware that the New Testament does not specify the date on which Jesus was born. Jesus did not arrive on December 25th. According to studies, his birth date is more likely to fall between May and November, during Israel's hottest months. 3 wise men. When the 3 wise men saw the guiding star that signaled the birth of Christ, they began their trek to Bethlehem. Researchers traced their likely path and determined that it would have taken them 2 years to arrive. This would imply that they were unable to visit Jesus in the stable shortly after his birth. The Bethlehem star. Astronomers think that the star that signified Jesus' birth was caused by a conjunction of Saturn and Jupiter. This astrological event occurred in the Pisces constellation in 7 BCE. Nazareth. Nazareth was a small and insignificant town. The location is even mocked in the Gospel of John. Nathanael is informed by Philip the apostle that the new Messiah has been discovered in Nazareth. Can anything good come from Nazareth? Nathanael responds. Career. Tekton is the Greek word for Jesus' profession. Despite the fact that the most frequent translation is carpenter, experts clarify that the term referred to an artisan or mason. Jesus was most likely a mason. Wealth. His ancestors can be traced back to King David, one of biblical history's richest men. Many additional details about Jesus' life indicate that his family was relatively prosperous. Stable. The perception that he was destitute stems from the fact that he was born in a stable, although this was a case of bad luck. On the day Mary went into labor, Bethlehem had a census, which meant that many people from the surrounding areas had traveled to the town. All of the inns were filled, and the couple could only find a barn for Mary to give birth in. Clothes. Jesus was reported to be clad in a particular tunic that only rich men wore at the time during his crucifixion. According to the Bible, the warriors even battled over who would keep it. Old Testament prophecies regarding Jesus were fulfilled. There are others who admire Jesus' teachings but reject the notion that they were given to him by God. A humanitarian and a philosopher. For Christian atheists, Jesus was a philosopher and humanitarian, not the son of an all-powerful God. The Islamic Holy Book. The Quran, Islam's sacred scripture, mentions Jesus more than the Prophet Muhammad. Jesus is referenced 25 times, whereas Muhammad is mentioned only 4 times. Prophet. Although Jesus is regarded as a prophet in Islam, he is not regarded as God's son. In Medina, Saudi Arabia, a tomb for Jesus Christ is located near to Muhammad's grave. Divine fury. 2 persons were struck by lightning during filming The Passion of the Christ, a 2004 film directed by Mel Gibson. Jim Caviezel, who played Jesus, was one of them. There will be more lightning. A 65-foot 20-meter figure of Jesus, located adjacent to a church in Monroe, Ohio, was struck by lightning and destroyed by fire. Siblings. Jesus is reported to have had 4 brothers and at least 2 sisters. The brothers' names were James, Joseph, Jude, and Simon. There are claims that they were his father's sons from another marriage, or even cousins. According to the Bible, Jesus' brother James, Shone, was stoned to death. Sentencing. Archaeologist Amit Rayam and his crew discovered Herod's palace after 15 years of excavating. Historians know the palace in the western section of Jerusalem is the location where Jesus was sentenced to death. Married. Historians confirmed and made public a disturbing old manuscript dating back to the 9th century CE in 2012. The manuscript is commonly referred to as the Lost Gospel, and claims that Jesus was married. The name Mary is also used, leading some to speculate that his wife's name was Mary Magdalene. Burden of the cross. According to the evidence, Jesus only carried the horizontal section of the cross, known as the patibulum. Because the crucifixion weighed about 60 pounds, 27 kilograms, Jesus would have dragged it rather than carrying it on his back. The crucifixion. In contrast to common belief, Jesus was nailed to the crucifixion via his wrists rather than his hands. If his hands had been nailed to the crucifixion, crucifixion, they would have been pulled apart by the weight of his body, causing him to fall. His crucifixion could have lasted up to 6 days. According to the Bible, Jesus died 6 hours later. The crucifixion took place about 9 a.m., and his death took place around 3 p.m. that afternoon. Death. According to the Bible, Jesus died on Good Friday. Historians assumed that he died in 30 or 33 CE. Clues from Pontius Pilate and Tiberius suggest that he died about 33 CE. Thank you for watching. Please do subscribe for more information. Please do support us.